All right, let's talk about a big one. It's a problem that so many of us in marketing, recruiting, or running an agency deal with every single day. How do you manage a bunch of different LinkedIn accounts without, setting off alarms, getting banned, or just plain losing your mind? So today, we're going to break down how to do this the right way.
Yeah, if you're looking at the screen and nodding right now, you know this struggle. You've got different clients, different brands, maybe a few ad campaigns, and it feels like your whole day is just logging in, logging out, and trying to keep everything from bleeding into each other. You are so not alone in this.
But this isn't just about being annoying. Trying to do this the wrong way, it's a professional minefield. Seriously. One slip-up could mean a sudden account ban, a really bad client data leak, or just so many hours of lost productivity every single week. The stakes are way higher than most people think.
So let's walk through that minefield. Because most people look for what seems like the easy way out, a quick shortcut. But as you're about to see, those common workarounds are actually the absolute riskiest things you can do for your business and your client. You know that dance, right? Logging into one account, doing your work, logging out, logging into another, or maybe you're trying to juggle a few different web browsers hoping for the best. Well, it's more than just a grind. It creates this digital soup of cookies and credentials that can easily trigger LinkedIn security flags or, even worse, expose sensitive client info.
Okay, so before we even get to a solution, we have to start with the absolute foundation, LinkedIn's own rules. You just can't build a safe workflow if you don't get what the platform's non-negotiable policies are. Honestly, this is the step most people skip, and it's where all the trouble really begins.
Now, what's so important about this quote is that it's the core principle behind everything. LinkedIn is built on this idea of real, authentic identities. This one sentence explains why they are so strict about how accounts get managed. They have to protect the trust of the entire network.
So these 4 rules are the big ones. First up, one personal account for each person, period. No exceptions. Second, if your team pays for tools like Sales Navigator or Recruiter, you cannot share one login. That's called seat sharing, and it's a big no-no. Third, aggressive automation, huge red flag. And finally, logging directly into a client's personal profile, that's a violation and a massive security risk.
Okay, so now that we have the don'ts down, let's talk about the do's. Let's look at the official LinkedIn-approved way to manage all these different assets. This is how the platform actually wants you to work.
Let's get our terms straight here. Legitimate management doesn't mean you have 5 different personal profiles. Not at all. It means using your one real profile to get admin access to different company pages, various ad accounts, and those licensed seats we talked about. See the difference? It's about managing assets, not faking identities.
And LinkedIn gives you 2 main tools for this. For marketing agencies, Business Manager is your command center. It lets you manage all your client pages and ad accounts from one central spot, without ever having to ask for a password. And for sales and HR teams, it's all about those licensed seats. Everybody on the team gets their own, which keeps everything secure and totally compliant.
Now, playing by the official rules is absolutely critical, but it doesn't solve that daily headache of speed and security. That's where a smart tech stack comes into play. This is the layer that makes the official method actually practical and usable at scale. So any decent tech solution for this problem has to deliver on these 3 pillars. It's non-negotiable. First, total session isolation. That just means the data from client A's account can never, ever leak into client B's. Think of it like a sealed box for each one. Second, easy account switching so you're not burning time logging in and out. And third, real enterprise-grade security. You're handling client data after all.
And this comparison just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you have the chaos of the risky way, sharing passwords, browser cookies getting all tangled up. But on the right, you see the Sendwin way. You share secure sessions, not passwords. Each account is totally isolated in its own tab. That's the real difference between a setup that's waiting to break and a truly professional one.
So you're probably wondering, okay, how do I actually do that? Well, the answer is a specific type of tool called a cloud browser. A tool like Sendwin, for example, is built from the ground up to solve this exact problem of secure multi-account management.
And you can see pretty quickly why this kind of tool is a game changer. Instead of texting passwords back and forth, you share access securely. That nightmare of logging in and out all day, it's replaced by a single click. Every client session is walled off in its own tab, so there's zero data leakage. And for teams that are spread out, you can add something called a proxy, which just means everyone on your team looks like they're working from one consistent location. That's a huge deal for avoiding security flags.
Okay, so let's put all the pieces together. How do we take the rules, the official tools, and this smart technology and turn it into a workflow that's safe and can actually scale? This right here, this is your blueprint for 2025.
It really breaks down into a simple 4-step process. First, get your house in order inside LinkedIn Business Manager. Define who has access to what. Step 2, build your daily command center in a tool like Sendwin, giving each account its own isolated space. Third, if your team is remote, use proxies to keep those location signals consistent. And finally, the most important step of all.
You have to harden every single login with two-factor authentication or passkeys. Seriously, if you only do one thing from this entire explainer, please do this. It's easy, it's fast, and it massively reduces your risk. Whatever you do, do not skip this step.
And the payoff for doing this work? Well, the chart really speaks for itself. If you're just flying blind with no safeguards, your risk is high. If you only use LinkedIn's official tools, that helps, but there are still gaps, so your risk is medium. But when you put the full blueprint together, governance, isolation, and security, your risk of getting an account restricted just plummets.
So, after all that, what's the one thing you need to remember? It really all boils down to a super simple, memorable formula for how to do this right in 2025.
Here it is. This is the playbook. Compliance plus isolation plus consistency. It's that simple. You always start by following LinkedIn's rules. Then, you use a dedicated tool for session isolation to keep things clean and make your life easier. And finally, you maintain consistent digital signals to keep the security bots happy. That is the recipe for speed, safety, and scale.
And that really just leaves one final question for you to think about. Take a good hard look at how your team is operating today. Is your current workflow actually built to scale up safely and efficiently? Or is it a ticking time bomb just built to fail?
If you're ready to build a workflow that's truly built for success, exploring a purpose-built tool is the next logical step. It'll help you streamline everything you do and protect your most valuable assets. And it's the key to finally getting some peace of mind. Thanks for watching.